I suppose a lot of people would say Mighty Morphin, because it was the one that started everything. But in general, I was never really a fan of it myself. I'd already seen more modern versions of the Rangers at that point, and while I can watch lots of older things with no problem, Power Rangers isn't quite one of those things. That, or maybe I just don't like Mighty Morphin as a whole. Honestly, pretty much everything before In Space was a chore to get through, but I wanted to see every Ranger series up to RPM, so I kinda had no choice. Zyuranger, the Japanese version of MMPR, was way better in terms of story and stakes involved. Seriously, watch it sometime, it's good. But now that I've rambled on long enough. Best Western Ranger shows. Number 1. Power Rangers in Space. This was one of the last Power Ranger shows with overt continuity. It started with Mighty Morphin, then to Alien Rangers, then Zeo, then Turbo, and finally to Power Rangers in Space. The show was struggling financially, Power Rangers as a whole was losing popularity, and this was to be their last season, so they pulled out all the stops and made it as big and as grand as possible, having epic battles, evil Rangers that are still iconic within the community to this day, even killing off Zordon himself. If you're not familiar with Power Rangers, you have no idea how huge this was. But the show did so well that it actively rekindled interest in the series as a whole. Honestly, this show has one of the best narratives I've ever seen, at least in something like Power Rangers. It has romance, a guy searching for his long-lost sister, a galactic villain with a hidden past, etc. It even brings back Bulk and Skull, two side characters from the very beginning, and alters them in a way that I won't spoil. Number 2. Power Rangers Lost Galaxy. This is a direct sequel to In Space, even bringing back some of the characters from that series as cameos. However, after this, while every Ranger series apparently takes place in the same universe, there is no direct continuity after Lost Galaxy, with every new series being almost completely standalone. While the series may not be as tightly written as In Space, it's still a worthy addition to the franchise, even bringing a fan-favorite Red Ranger onto the scene in the form of Leo, a guy who wasn't even supposed to be in that position in the first place. And he knew it. Yet he trained hard and earned his title. Number 3. Power Rangers Time Force. This is the first Ranger series I ever really saw, though only in glimpses at first. As a kid, I was never allowed to watch it. But once I got a bit of freedom, I watched every Ranger series I could, starting with this one. I can't say enough good things about this series. It's well written, well shot, well directed, the music is top-notch for a Ranger series, and it's even well acted. They got an actual, experienced actor to play the role of the Red Ranger's father, as well as one for the main villain, and most of the cast is actually really good for their role as well. Once again, the writing is stellar, with love between the Red and Pink Ranger, hidden relationships between the main villain and one of his henchmen, themes of racism and xenophobia, hopelessness, choosing your own destiny, etc. And it's got one of my top 3 Rangers of all time in the show, Wes Collins. The only other character arcs I've ever seen that are this freaking good are in 2 other shows on this very list. Just watch it. Number 4. Power Rangers Ninja Storm. As far as Ranger shows go, this one isn't all that special. But for some reason, there's just something endearing about the whole thing that has always caused me to give it greater importance in terms of these types of programs. The writing isn't always good, but the hype is absolutely unreal. Number 5. Power Rangers SPD. Once again, a really amazing series. there are no massive space battles or world-ending evils to face off against. They're Power Ranger police, basically. Yet the character interactions and characterizations are off the charts. If you take away the cheesy heroism that everyone displays, you could easily see yourself hanging out with these people in real life. Number 6. Power Rangers Jungle Fury. And here's the other show that arguably takes first place right alongside Time Force, Power Rangers Jungle Fury. One of the best Power Ranger series ever made. The Red Ranger in this series was never meant to be one, and was chosen after the original guy got possessed by an evil spirit, kind of a long story, and must spend quite some time slowly training himself to stand on equal footing with the other two Rangers, as this particular series is centered around the theme of various animal-based Chinese martial arts. The series is filled with all kinds of spiritual teachings, and even when nothing is happening in terms of action, it's still quite interesting to watch, because someone is usually learning something. And when the action hits, it hits that much harder, because it's always a moment of truth. One or more characters are putting everything they've learned so far to the test. This is the second series that shows immense character growth from everyone, and I mean everyone, all the Rangers, every master, the villains, even side characters, who even end up teaching the others something by their own actions. Once again, just watch IT. Number 7. Power Rangers RPM. Perhaps the darkest Western Power Ranger series made to date. The entire world has been destroyed by an evil artificial intelligence and its army of robots, with a final remnant of humanity hiding in a wall and Dome City, defended only by their military and attached Power Rangers. This is the third series with insane character development over time. I put the writing almost on par with Time Force and Jungle Fury, but it can't quite make